Hey everybody, Mike Weber here with Keller Williams Realty. Here today with some tips and strategies for selling a home in a softening real estate market. So as all of you know, in the last 5 or 6 years, the market has just been so hot and so competitive that pretty much any property, as long as it's priced within some sort of range of reason, had a buyer come along who wrote an offer and bought the property regardless of the condition or any of the repairs that it might have needed. Well, we're starting to see a change in the market in many cities in Los Angeles and the South Bay. The amount of inventory that's out there has been rising substantially in a lot of areas. The number of sales that are actually taking place has dropped a lot for this high season and busy time of year. And in some areas, prices have actually started to trend down a little bit already. So what you do now as a motivated seller who really wants to get your property sold is really going to make all the difference in being successful out there in this market and getting your property sold versus the competition. So let's jump right in. First of all, you need to make sure that you price your property right from the outset. So, over the last several years, what's happened is sellers call the listing agent, the agent comes out, they look at the comps together, and the seller decides to set a listing price, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over the competition and what the comps show, knowing that somebody's going to probably come along and buy the property. And for the most part, that strategy did work out. And so a lot of times the agent didn't really push the seller, didn't really instruct the seller the way they should have in terms of, the relative condition of their property to the comps and, so on and so forth. And things just work themselves out in most cases. They got an offer that was close enough, they accepted it, etc. But that's not really going to be the case anymore. So pricing the property correctly up front, really understanding the nuances of the comparable properties, the condition of those properties, how a buyer is going to perceive the features and benefits of those properties versus the subject property is going to be very important in pricing effectively and accurately once things continue to slow down a little bit more. Also, as more sellers who really are motivated and want to sell their home enter the market and price their property lower because they know that they have to be priced competitively to sell, if you start out too high, nobody's going to pay attention to your property or look at your property at all. So it's very important that you have an agent that understands how to price the property, that communicates effectively, and that you set a price on your property that is going to be competitive initially compared to what's available out there, and also remain competitive as other sellers who really are motivated enter the market and underprice you in order to get their home sold first. Next, the condition of the property, the way that it shows, and being flexible with repairs and credits is going to become something that's much more important than it has been over the last several years. And what I mean by that is anything that you can do to increase the perceived value of the property is certainly a good place to start. So things like decluttering, making the curb appeal more attractive, improving the flow as you walk through the property, things that you see initially when you walk in the door, creating a first impression. All of these types of things are going to have a lot more value than they did in the past when somebody would buy the property regardless of the condition. Also, as buyers do inspections and they get these inspection reports and realize the multitude of work, the things that need to be done to bring the property up to a reasonable standard, you're going to want to be more flexible now as a seller and really take the time to genuinely consider those requests and negotiate reasonably with them a number that's going to be fair and make everybody happy. Because the days of selling properties completely as is are numbered, and so you're going to want to be more flexible in that regard. Another thing is that, in terms of showing, you really want to make the property look as nice and clean and as attractive as possible, so that way when buyers come out to look at the property, they really get a good feel for it, a good impression. They can envision what it's going to be like to have their furniture in the property and to have themselves living there. So all of these things ultimately add up to how attractive your property is in comparison to the other properties on the market. And these are some of the things that you can do to give yourself a better chance or a better shot at getting your property sold over the competition. So the third thing that's going to be extremely important as we move forward in this market is having a highly skilled and competent listing agent representing the sale of your property. So the days where you hire an average agent who just, takes average photos and puts your property on the MLS and somebody calls and writes an offer and buys it, those days are numbered. You're going to have a highly skilled and competent agent that really knows how to market a property, that's very proactive in going out into the market and finding potential buyers, following up with agents, being extremely responsive, doing everything that they can to get buyers into your property so that way they can fall in love with it and write an offer on it. These are all going to be things that are going to be game changers in being successful at getting your property sold over a different property. So hiring a discount brokerage, that just sticks the property on the MLS and takes pictures and takes 2 days to call back when a buyer's agent calls about information on the property, those things are just not going to be effective as this market continues on. So you really need an agent who really is proactive, who knows what they're doing, who markets effectively, who's going to be extremely responsive and see every lead and every potential buyer through from beginning all the way till end. And what I mean by that is they're going to follow up with the agent, they're going to ask questions, they're going to do everything they can to try to put a deal together between you and this potential buyer. So these are just a couple tips and some of the things that you can do to give yourself an edge over the competition as the market continues to soften. Now, if you have questions or you want to talk in more detail about how we can help you get your property sold, give me a call today. I'm here to help. And if you like the video, if it was helpful or useful, do me a favor, click the subscribe button, click the thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.